Fox Sports Las Vegas, 98.9 FM and 1340 AM. Brought to you by the Southern Nevada Chevrolet dealers.
Hey, it's JT here to tell you about the best beats in Las Vegas. Grimaldi's. Only at Grimaldi's can keep their
Maybe we should bring Polonies at 12:30.
Yeah, I'm going to let that. I'm going to figure that out. I think what my priority is to find out what we're getting live. I just think that we're.
Right, 1984 to 6 o'clock.
What do you say, everybody? What's happening? How we doing today? Everyone good? The bricklayers jumping in. All right, microphone check, headset check. Put some topics in there if you got anything you want to talk about. Would love that. A lot of guys skipping mini camp, man. Not for the Raiders though, but man. All right, Bobby, let's do a radio show today. Let's be excited about doing radio. Let's do our job. You know, you don't have to be appreciated every second of your life. You just got to do your job. Yeah, well, a little bit would be nice. Yeah. We're up on Twitter and we're up on YouTube. That's pretty cool. The technology growth that we've had on this platform. Now we just got to get to 10,000 subscribers, which we're almost at 7. So we got to have a big summer. Yeah, I believe Jim Plunkett's in the Hall of Fame. Michael's putting down his Kennedy assassination book. I read the Warren Commission. I know a lot about that. Carlitos Way, afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, I'm doing good, man. Appreciate everybody. Got my Sirius XM hat on. Look at that. Let Babcheck know. Those who know. It's actually a cool hat. Fits good. All right, let's do this.
You're listening to the JT the Brick Show, where the Raider Nation has come to sound off and react for over 20 years.
It's the JT the Brick Show, broadcasting live from the Finley Cadillac Performance Studio, your silver and black home to sound off for over 25 years. And now, here's JT the Brick.
Out of the gate, JT coming off Media Day yesterday, and we're back in the studios of Lotus Broadcasting, Brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat. That's that big, tall, pointed building with the restaurant, top of the world on top, the great casino. They got a flagship there for PTs. As you know, they're great. They're fantastic to us, and they fuel the monologue. I mentioned them first because they've been with me the longest, and we got a busy show lined up today. It is mandatory mini camp over at the Raiders today. It kind of doesn't fit with the timing of this show because I can't get from deep Henderson to the beginning of Summerlin that quickly. So we're here, but we're all prepped up. We're ready to go. Yesterday, 6 hours in the building for what was a really cool, I thought, and everybody enjoyed it, media day yesterday. So we got some of the interviews that we're going to play here the rest of the week because I hosted them. So we'll play them here on the show, along with Eric Allen and Paul Gutierrez, a couple of the star players, coaches, GMs. You heard Pete Carroll yesterday, and that was a good day yesterday. Long day. Went into Raider Nation Radio. Then I hosted Mad Dog last night for that Stanley Cup brouhaha. A lot of chippiness, fighting, bitterness in that game, which was really interesting there too. So with everything that happened yesterday, got some rest, got up today. Man, I always say this around this time of year, please take your pets out early, walk your dogs early. It was blistering today at a relatively early time. And got to get the pets out there early in the morning. Hey, they don't want to watch you sleep in and make your coffee and doodle around and make calls. They need one chance to get out in the morning. So just get out there with the pets and do the right thing. If you're living in Vegas, you know what I'm talking about. If you're everywhere else, maybe you don't have to do that. And the big topic today, as we open it up, a lot of really good players are not showing up for minicamp. And that's the focus of the monologue as we begin. Here's the deal with players not showing up in June. These are the players that want new contracts. And there's no need to show up other than goodwill and faith in your team that you're going to get a contract. Most of the guys get new contracts. And they don't want to be there, especially if they're veterans in June. And they don't want to run around and sweat. They don't think they need to. And their contract is up after this season going into next year. So if God forbid, if they tweak their knee, if they tore an ACL, because they're trying to go full strength and they're gone for the year, they really hurt themselves. So I think everybody can understand that players want to negotiate. They want to get their contracts done. And they want to be prepared to play in the season when training camp comes along. Now, training camp is very important because every football team needs practice. In an era of the NFL where they don't want you to practice anymore. Not the coaches. The coaches, all I talk to, want more practices. It's the league. The league does not want the players practicing much, and especially when the season starts, they don't have a lot of time to practice. They do these walkthroughs where they go with shells and shorts, or they just go to meetings all day, and it gets really boring, and it gets really tedious. So this is the time of year where the players get to crank up a sweat, get together, learn the playbook, which is really important, especially if you're a new team like the Raiders with Chip Kelly. You want to install a lot here in the next couple of days and show the players or give them a taste initially about what you want to do coming up in training camp. And I would assume with Chip Kelly, the playbook is going to be very elaborate. You know, John Gruden had one of the craziest playbooks in the history of the NFL. I mean, the verbiage was long and intense. You had to learn it. He wasn't going to bend. You had to know everything. You better know the terminology. It took like 7 seconds for the quarterbacks to get it out there. But that's the way he liked to do it. I don't know how Chip Kelly wants to do it. But Chip Kelly probably is the busiest guy around the facility because he's installing a new offense that has some really good players who haven't played together. Brock Bowers has never played with Geno Smith. Geno's never played with Jacoby Myers. Okay, Jacoby Myers has never run routes next to Jack Besh. And then there's Ashton Genty in the backfield, who's a beast. That's a lot of work. I mean, that offensive staff is going to be burning the midnight oil. There's going to be a lot of food delivered over to the facility as those guys are working. But after this Thursday, Friday, and I don't know everybody's schedule, it's kind of mandatory vacation. And everybody's going to take vacation, and they're going to get away from football for a while. We're going to do that. Everybody's going to get out of here for a little bit, recharge the batteries, and then go balls out into January, February. We don't stop, even if the Raiders don't make the playoffs, and hopefully they do. We go right to the Super Bowl, which this year is in Santa Clara, but they're going to pretend it's in San Francisco. Someone clip that up. They're going to pretend that the Super Bowl's in Santa Clara, but it's not there. All the media and everything will be in San Francisco. They'll do that traditional thing they do with the magic wand where they clean up the city a week in advance. Magic wand comes by and all of a sudden the streets are clean. Everything's kind of cleaned up and they repaint everything. And then they claim the Super Bowl's in San Francisco, but it's not. It's in Santa Clara. And that's coming up here for the 60th Super Bowl. 60th Super Bowl. So that's a big deal. So the Raiders' goal is to win the Super Bowl. That's a lofty goal. The second goal for the Raiders is to get to the playoffs. I think from hanging around that team, it's a goal that could be very reasonable if everything goes right because they have a last place schedule. And their schedule, I think they should be able to manage. And then obviously they want to win the division, which is going to be hard to do until Kansas City bows out of that. And a lot of people in the league think that Kansas City eventually will be caught by the Chargers because for whatever reason, and I think it has to do with the NFL Network and other media outlets being based in Los Angeles, that every couple of years people buy into the hype that the Chargers are going to do something, and they've never done anything in your lifetime. They've never done anything in your lifetime. They've never done anything in your lifetime. But every couple of years, the bandwagon gets going. This is going to be the year of the Chargers. Unfortunately for Raider Nation, one of these years with Jim Harbaugh will be the year of the Chargers because he's a really good coach and he's going to win, just like I think Pete Carroll's going to win and Sean Payton's going to win and Andy Reid has won. So the Raiders play in a very difficult division. Is it still the most difficult division in football? Some people think the AFC North, the AFC West, the tougher football is in the American Football Conference than it is in the National Football Conference. Fact, not fiction. So yesterday we were out there at Media Day, and I thought it went beautifully. It really did, because the new regime was so involved with interviews. They were great. John Spytek, Pete Carroll. Then the players all wanted to stay longer than they normally would, which was a lot of fun. And then we had fans. If you were some of the fans that I got a chance to talk to yesterday out there, that was really cool to have that fan element there. And then just the energy in the building. And I talked to someone in the building who described it best by saying, Media Day, everyone in the building is hyped because everybody in the building, from ticketing, sales, the executives, are all getting their headshot. They're all taking their photos. So they're all dressed up in their suits. They're ready to get a picture taken. There's a little bit of juice in the building. Everybody's excited about it. And then there's a lot to be said about Pete Carroll. I talked to a former NFL executive today about Pete Carroll who told me, his energy is authentic. And I said, yeah, that's the way to describe it perfectly. This isn't fake. Pete Carroll's not running around for the cameras going, oh, the cameras are on me. I'm gonna fake pin some guy or I'm going to shoot a basket. No, Pete Carroll is authentically excited to coach, win, and compete every day. And we know that. And he shared that with us yesterday, which I was very impressed by that. So now the install is going to go in at some level with the offense. The big install will come in training camp. And Chip Kelly has got an interesting job in front of him, which I think it's really cool that he's the guy to do this because he's got tremendous experience at installing offenses. Like if you're Bo Hardigree or you're a guy, you're Norv Turner's son, Scott Turner, you don't have any experience. You have a little, you have no experience on installing an offense. You practice at home in front of your dad, or you practice and you've been around the football for a while, but you haven't done this at the level of Chip Kelly. So Chip Kelly knows how to install an offense from Oregon, Philadelphia as a head coach, the national champs, the Ohio State. He's done all this. So this is going to be the formation of what he wants to put in there. Should be okay for him to handle. The problem is he's got so many players who haven't played together. They haven't played together, so they literally have the lowest level of timing of players in the league. And it's not a bad thing because Gino is going to get his timing going, Michael Mayer, but you get my point. Brock Purdy has more timing going with George Kittle than older Gino has with players on the Raiders. It's just a fact. So for Chip Kelly, what does he want to do? Does he want to install the basics early? Like, here's what our base offense is going to look like. Here's what I want to kind of instill. Or is he going to throw so much at him, so much verbiage and a thick part of this playbook and say, go home. Don't lose your playbook. Don't leave it in the backseat of the car. Don't leave it for your girlfriend to throw out with the trash. Take your playbook and lock it up and study it for 7 hours a day. Then the guys come back for training camp and they're ready to go. I would tell you, Derek Carr was fantastic this time of year of not taking a vacation. Derek Carr would go to the park in Henderson and bring 5 of his teammates, and he'd just throw the ball all day, all morning, and he'd get a lot of work. And then he'd take his guys out to golf or whatever. And Derek Carr was outstanding in the offseason of teaching his teammates what he wanted to do. I think the same at Gino. From interviewing Gino now, I think the most amount of times and talking to him and getting to know him, this guy is laser focused and dialed in on how he wants to get his teammates up to speed. And that is extra work. That was flying Jackson Powers Johnson to Miami to work on snaps and do that. That's what Gino's going to do. I don't think Gino's probably going to be taking a long 3-week vacation. I think Gino and Chip and everybody are going to have directions and homework assignments, and I think Gino is going to be able to do that. Same thing with Max Crosby, man. If there's a guy who deserves a vacation, it's him. But he'll probably go back to Eastern Michigan and set the budget because now he's the assistant GM there and help out. But Max is working out like an animal too. So I wanted to talk about today a specific topic because we're kind of loaded on what you think is the most important thing for Chip Kelly to install this week. Because training camp, I'm going to save for training camp. And in between that, we're going to do our summer radio going over draft picks and all that, which hopefully you'll enjoy. But today, as we talk to Raider Insiders the rest of the week, I'd like to know from you, the fans of the Raider Nation, if you'd like to come in our chat, it's blowing up. JT the Brick on YouTube, JT the Brick YT, you can jump in there. Or you can go anywhere on X at JT the Brick and just tell me what you think is the most important thing that will set the tone for the offense. I'll go first. To me, it's the running game of Ashton Genty. I've been all over Brock. I'm a big Brock guy, and I like throwing the ball more than running the ball, if you know me. But I think the organization is at a really important crossroads now after Josh Jacobs and his great run with the Raiders. Then after Josh Jacobs, this team goes to last in the NFL at running the football, dead last. Now the most important thing to install is this running game. And get the running game going. What is this dead last in the league crap? 32 out of 32? And you're wondering what the priority is of the install? We got to get the running game going. You got to establish arrogance at the line of scrimmage. You got to have Ashton Genty running behind crazed animals who are knocking people out at the point of attack. That's the key here. If that happens, then you can work play action. The passing game will open up. But it used to be, let's pass the ball to open up the run. No. We got Raheem Mostert and Ashton Genty. Completely 100% healthy. Knock wood. Let's keep it that way. And let's run the ball. Because Pete wants to run it and Chip wants to run it. So let's run the ball with authority. So that would be something that I'd like to see installed. Because when training camp starts, and a lot of times you don't tackle the running back, you just grab the running back. But I think the key to this training camp, which is coming up later this summer, is the line of scrimmage and the offensive line telling Max Crosby, we're sick and tired of you owning us. It's ending right now. We are going to play at a level where we can try to neutralize you, and good luck doing that with Max. But that's what the tone needs to be set, in my humble opinion. Set the offensive line, figure out who's going to play, add another offensive lineman if they become available, add another offensive lineman if he becomes available because he's cut for an array of reasons, and get this offensive line and running game going. It's a pretty good topic, isn't it? I mean, for June, what do you want? What do you want from me? I'm not a magician. We had a magician on yesterday. I can't do magic. I'm just trying to run a fast-paced radio show for a couple of hours and keep people happy. 702-365-9200. That's the phone number. Someday I will come in here and Bobby will say, every phone line's full. I will not do the show. I will quit because I could easily retire and walk away and say, I'm done. Until then, I need to give you the phone number to remind you that we're live and we're doing a Raiders radio show, the biggest Raiders radio show in the world, and to wake up Raider fans for 2 hours a day. I don't care what you do before my show or after the show. You got great options, great shows. But in my window, it's about me. And I need the energy from other fans because I like energy. And that's the way I run the show. 702-365-9200. I say run it and run it hard. And make sure everybody's happy with the running game. Fix the running game, Chip. Chip Kelly, fix the running game to a point where it's respectful, and then I think everything's going to open up. Everything's going to open up. Saw a pretty good piece of sound earlier today from the Kay Adams show. Tim Brown was on, and he talked about Ashton Genty, and Tim is fantastic, and Tim speaks his mind no matter what the topic is. Here's what touchdown Timmy Brown said.
Obviously, Bo and Marcus were two incredible athletes, and what they brought to the table was something totally different. Marcus, is probably the best running back that I've ever seen. His ability to block, his ability to run, whatever, pass. He probably a better quarterback than some of the guys we had, on the team. But the guy that he really reminds me of is Napoleon Kaufman. I think Napoleon came to the league, a very undersized, body or whatever, but had the ability to return punts and kicks and do a lot of great things. And his ability to hit a hole and explode was really, really amazing. And so I just think that, if he can do some of the things that Napoleon was doing, now he may be asked to do even more because Knapp wasn't asked to carry the load as much. I think he was sharing it with Tyrone Wheatley and a couple other guys. But Genty, it's going to be all on him. It's going to be all on him to carry the load with the running game, and hopefully he can get that done. But I think this guy is going to be great for the Raiders, and I'm really looking forward to see him play.
Yeah, so everybody's excited about Ashton Genty. Napoleon Kaufman, that's a nice name drop. That's a really good name drop, very similar. And Napoleon came into the league. He's a pastor now for a while. He had an impact on this league. He's a very good player. So Ashton was great yesterday. He didn't come out with his uniform on and all that. He was just in a T-shirt and shorts because I think his media was a little bit later on in the day. But he was great to have him there and talk, and we had a lot of fun with him. So that's where we stand on what's happening with the Raiders and the install and what's going to happen with mandatory mini camp here. And the Raiders are pretty clean on this level. They look pretty clean as a lot of good players are holding out. So the number of players that are holding out, and some guys are in and showing up. Kirk Cousins, he attended the first day of minicamp. And James Cook, the running back of Buffalo, attended. Trey Hendrickson is holding out a minicamp, according to Adam Schefter. He's as good as Max Crosby. His numbers are right there with Max. I think Max is better in my biased opinion. But I can promise you this. If Cincinnati doesn't get their Trey Hendrickson deal done after paying the wide receivers and Chase and Higgins, they're going nowhere. They're actually going nowhere. Micah Parsons is seeking a contract extension. He was in and out of the offseason program, but was not part of OTAs. Okay, he says he'll be attending minicamp. He's a pretty important player. Yesterday, we found out that Jair Alexander is available, the cornerback from the Green Bay Packers. That news broke yesterday. We didn't have a lot of time to do a deep dive on that. He's been injured the last couple of years, but this guy's been an All-Pro twice and a Pro Bowler multiple times. We have a veteran cornerback who's available. If Jair Alexander came to the Raiders, he would start at cornerback. He would start, and he'd be pretty good because he's been an elite player. Now, I don't know what the Raiders consider him. I don't know what they think of his medicals and all that. So we'll see what happens there. Jalen Ramsey, the team is seeking a trade. Ramsey's definitely on his way out from the Dolphins, but they can't find a way for anybody to pick up his money because it's pretty significant, the guaranteed money that's coming to him. So Ramsey's contract, what I feel what's going to happen with Ramsey, if someone gets injured on a good team, they're going to go after Ramsey pretty quickly. Jonnu Smith, the tight end, is skipping minicamp. A lot of people think that, he signed a deal with Miami last offseason, 2-year, $8.4 million. But a lot of people are predicting that he wants to get to Aaron Rodgers up in Pittsburgh. The biggest name missing minicamp is TJ Watt. Okay, TJ Watt has been arguably the best defensive player in football for a number of years. He's working on a contract extension as he enters the final year of his contract. This is the perfect example of a player who does not need to be at mandatory minicamp. He doesn't have a contract after this year. He's too valuable. He's going to get new money. No need for him to risk injury and go there. I completely support what TJ Watt is doing. DK Metcalf skipped voluntary OTAs and practices. That was a bit of a surprise. And there are some players. Hassan Reddick is with the Bucs now. He skipped OTAs, but he was at the first day of minicamp. Terry McLaurin, the wide receiver. Man, that's a good player for the Washington Commanders. He's holding out a minicamp. He had one of the most productive seasons, 82 receptions, 1,096 yards, 13 touchdowns. This guy can play. He's entering the final year of his contract. He wants to get paid. So I'm just going through a list of players who are holding out or not going to minicamp. Is it the end of the world stuff? No, it's not the end of the world. But what I find interesting about it is it's a point of reference to this league. The NBA is a player entitlement league. The NFL is not. The NFL, there are a few players, that can demand more money and kind of put pressure on ownership. Nothing like the NBA. The NBA is a train wreck when it comes to that. So the owners in the NFL have a lot of power. And if you don't want to play, most of the owners are like, good, go kick rocks, don't play. We'll get another guy younger than you. He's not as good as you, but we're not going to give you $280 million like an NBA player. You believe some of these NBA players are getting $240 million and football players who are getting concussed and putting their brains on the line or not? So Aaron Rodgers also, he just reportedly told Pittsburgh and the team as he met with them that he's all in. And I think he will be all in. The monologue brought to you by Modelo, the #1 beer in America. You know, everybody knows bucket of Modelo on Friday. Have a bucket of Modelo on Friday with me, if you will. It's the #1 beer in America. It would be a good choice. Tastes great. Love Modelo and everything they do for the show. So we got a bunch of interviews to play. If you'd like to call in, I'll take your calls in between or beforehand. 702-365-9200. Got two good friends on the show today. Zig Fracassi. He's going to talk hockey at the top of the hour of the Stanley Cup. It got real chippy between the Oilers and Florida. Can you imagine, Bobby, if Vegas didn't beat Florida in the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago? Florida would be going for a three-peat, because they won last year, right? If they win this year, that'd be 2 in a row, and we beat them here in Vegas. They'd be going for a dynasty. So it was lucky that, if not lucky, it was fortunate that we took them out. No news on the Knicks front with what the Knicks want to do. Aaron Judge is ahead of Ohtani in batting average by 105 points. 105 points. Judge is ahead of Ohtani. But Dodger fans are out of their minds saying, well, he's got a ring and Judge doesn't. Really? You're gonna stand on a platform and scream to the heavens that Ohtani has one ring? You know how many baseball players I can mention? Hundreds upon hundreds that have two, and Ohtani doesn't have two. So, yeah, he's got one more than Judge. Who cares? Judge is going to get a ring. How many is Ohtani going to get? I think he's going to get a bunch, unless the Padres can stop him. And the Padres last night found a way to lose again in extra innings. I don't know how Padre fans go to home games when the Dodgers are in town. I don't know how you go with that many Dodger fans in your building. People say, well, Allegiant Stadium, you have other fans. These are fans that are glam. These are gals wearing high heels and shimmering outfits. They telling their husbands, take me to the stadium. I've never been. This ain't the Dodgers and the Padres, okay? The Padres should be able to protect their home stadium from the Dodger fans. The Dodger fans just come down in trains and take over that place. So we're off to a good start. Also, Olden Polynice to preview the NBA Finals on a big day today. A couple of Raiders will be talking from minicamp today, and we're going to try to get that captured for you and play it here first on the flagship station as we open. That was 25 minutes of me. Just me. Not two costume-wearing guys laughing at my jokes. There were no jokes. We're just trying to talk sports for a couple hours a day. That's all I want to do with you is talk sports for 2 to 5 hours a day. And that's what I got. A 5-hour show today, 2 today, 3 tonight. Jump on board. We're ready to roll. JT at JT the Brick on X. Yep, another 25 minutes. Nobody calling, nobody interacting. Couple people in the chats proving once again that people are asleep in the fucking summer. They are asleep, and I am awake, and I am excited. That will be my legacy. When people are asleep and mellow and taking the day off, JT comes in like a bat out of hell. The ghost regime.
Do you have any interest in Tom McMahon? Special teams coach?
No, not right now. I have a lot of interest in him, but not right now. Man, we got a lot of people in the chat. Good opening. Thank you, Snow Raider. Not napping today. Dollar Loan Center.
Everybody needs a vacation, but they can be pricey. Souvenirs, dinners, jet ski rentals, plane tickets, gas. You definitely need a leg up, and don'tbebroke.com can help. At Dollar Loan Center, you can get a single.
I got one call, Mitch in New Jersey.
And we never charge prepayment penalties. The faster you pay it back, the more you save. It's free to apply, and new customers, your first week's interest.
All right, Bobby, what do you want to
60 locations. Apply over the phone.
I'd like to do orders.
Or online at don'tbebroke.com from the comfort of your smartphone. Dollar Loan Center has you covered.
Yeah, we might play part of my Olden Polonies from last night. That was pretty good.
Hey, you got to throw that.
Okay. So Colt Miller, Daniel Carlson, Jacorian Bennett. I'd like to take Colt Miller.
Because they just wrapped up the
Navy SEAL Foundation into Straight Rock Charities. Banal Mescal, that's BNAAA Mescal, proud partner of Raider Nation Radio.
This is Raider Nation Radio, 920 AM, the home of Raider Nation.
This is JT from the Black Hole, home of football's most notorious fans. If you're a diehard Raider fan, this is your home. Become a member today and receive 20% off online purchases, hotel discounts for home and away games, access to members-only merchandise, and much more. All memberships are now lifetime memberships. Once a member, always a member. If you bleed silver and black, visit thebblackhole.com today. That's thebblackhole.com.
Big news, Las Vegas. Les Olson IT is moving to a bigger, better facility to serve you like never before. Our new space means more technology, more service, and more solutions.
They were back in a minute.
All designed with your mind. Plus, we're hiring.
Raider Nation Radio.
With a company that values
Raider
innovation.
Nation Radio, what's your name?
Our team today, proudly serving Las Vegas for 23 years and counting. Les Olson IT, your business better. Les Olson IT. Personal injury law has been the same for
Mike,
a
what's your
long
last
time.
name?
We've had it.
Yeah, hey, Mike.
Welcome to Sam & Ash. The
Where
new
you- where you
standard
calling
for
from, Mike?
personal injury law, where things are done the right way. Because
Bobby
you deserve
battling.
someone that delivers real support and
All right, hold on,
results. When you have both, your whole
Like
world
what?
can change.
Who's that?
So
The guy
if
Mike
you've
from
ever
Philly.
in a crash,
All right, let's start with him.
702-303-0333. Sam & Ash, because you deserve what's right.
Thank you. Pacers will play NBA Finals game at home for the first time since 2000.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the DeCasta Verde Law Group.
If you get injured in an accident, call 702-222-9999.
The final seconds tick away, and the Panthers take care of business tonight. A 6-1 win here in Game 3, and the Panthers lead the Stanley Cup Final 2-1.
That's Panthers radio, man. They looked good last night. They were great. Zig Fracassi at the top of the hour on the Stanley Cup Final, because that's what we're talking about. We're in Vegas. We're a hockey town. It's the Stanley Cup. Let's dive into that if you're a hockey town. Also, Olden Polonies coming up. This is the first Pacers NBA Finals game at home since 2000. 25 years. So I would assume that building's going to be pretty rocking tonight. Olden Polynese in a moment. Mike in Philly starting us off. Mike, thanks for checking in. What's happening?
What's up, JT? Hey, thanks for letting me kick off the show. First of all, I want to give a nice shout out to the monologue. That was an awesome monologue. The high energy is going across the country. Let me, as a blind dude, like checking in from Philly, we won the Super Bowl, and I'm not being obnoxious when I say this. My concern is with Chip Kelly. Okay. And by the way, shout out to the Tom Looney podcast and what's up with the podcast. I'm going to give a concern that I throw out there for you Raider family.
Okay.
Is because I hope that Chip Kelly can slow down the offense just enough so it's not, it's not speed up too fast, because you remember what happened here in Philly? We were jaded. That first Monday night, we got out to, what was it, like 56 or whatever against the, Washington. And I worry about that with you guys. And I hope that Chip Kelly can slow down the offense just enough so it's like, in sync with the, the timing and, so that like there's nobody stopping the clock with, oh, I got hurt. Oh my God, Chip Kelly's too quick. Because that's what happened to us, JT. And I in Philly and, with the whole Harry Risner thing. But, I just want to point that out. Okay. And I hope that, this is my concern.
All right. Well, fair enough. And let me.
I hope you guys keep it up, and I'm excited for you guys.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. I'm not worried about the Raiders' offense being too fast. I've been screaming from the press box since this building opened to pick up the damn pace of this offense. I've been screaming from the mountaintop of the Legion Stadium to pick up the pace of the offense and get in and out of the huddle and run the plays that you run in Henderson and run them better. So I'm not worried about Chip running the offense too fast. That is the least of my problems. I just want to make sure they're running the best plays and they understand the defense and what the defense is throwing at them, and they make good adjustments. All right, Olden Polynese, 15-year big man in the league. A great analyst, fantastic. And our last time talking to him during the NBA Finals. Olden, welcome in. I wanted to ask you, Indy's already saying that they got away from their game in the paint. What's it like in the locker room when you get away from some facet of the game and you got to get it back really quickly?
Well, I mean, it's always disappointing to a team because you have a game plan and you want to stick to it. But the beauty of the playoffs, especially the finals, is that you have to pivot. You have to be able to, make the in-game adjustments as best as you can. But they were able to do it in game one, and it didn't happen in game two. But again, if I'm Indiana, I'm still happy because I did what I wanted to do. Yeah, it would be great to get 2 games in Oklahoma City against the team with the best record, but that's a tall order. But you did get the one you needed. And so to me, I'm still in a positive state of mind going home now. A 2-1 format, so the next 2 games are in Indiana, so they should still be feeling good about themselves.
When you look at this team and the youth of Oklahoma City, but they got guys who can get up and down. They play great in transition, and they play defense really tough all the time. They sell out hard on defense. What do you think's their best chance to win the series? Is it Halliburton staying hot? Because, some of their big guys like to shoot threes. Can they win this series in the paint, or you see it any other way that they're going to be able to do it?
Well, I'm going to tell you exactly how this series is going to go, JT. And it's all based on whistles. It really is. Because to me, that's the deciding factor. Because shots are going to go in or they're going to miss. It's when the referees blow the whistles. Because if the game 2, they allow Caruso to really get up. And, a lot of that stuff is a foul, but the whistle's not blowing. And so to me, those are the deciding factors, in my opinion. It's based on when exactly are those whistles being blown. Because some stuff they let go, but they might do it, right when you're on a break or when you have momentum. So those are the things that I look for. But as far as like X's and O's and shots going in and all that, they are evenly matched, in my personal opinion. It's all going to come down if the foul merchant is attacking and getting whistles. Because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander probably gets the best whistle of any player I've seen in the NBA in the last 25 years. And so to me, that's an advantage if you're able to if you're able to use it correctly.
Very interesting. So you believe that both coaches are understanding what you're saying. Does that mean to attack more because of the whistle merchants? Sometimes they swallow the whistle. It's the NBA Finals. Maybe they'll let them play a little bit. How do you get a vibe through the coaches that you got to attack the rim and get some fouls?
Shea Gilgeous knows that he's using it to his advantage. Caruso understands it because he's picking up, he's hacking and fouling people, and we used to say this, the referees, again, they're human. If you're being the aggressor, they're going to allow it. They're going to allow you to be the aggressor, especially on the defensive end. And so to me, the advantage that OKC has is that they have a guy offensively or a couple of guys offensively that are aggressive, and then they have a couple of guys on defense who are aggressive. So if they get the right whistle, of course they have an advantage.
Interesting. Olden Polynice is our guest. When you look at the way this series is shaping up, and when it comes to days off in between and preparation, do you change the game plan a lot from game to game? These are two very good coaches. I give Carlisle the advantage here, or do you just stick with your overall way you got there and you play your best? Because I like the tactical side of this chess game, and I think Carlisle has a slight advantage because he's been doing this longer with the title.
Definitely. The coaching advantage definitely goes to Rick Carlisle. But again, I said they are like evenly matched. But again, then we have to go to, secondary stuff, secondary phases of basketball, shot making. Obi Toppin in game one knocks down 5 or 6 threes, makes a huge difference. It was an unexpected, run for him. Game two, we have a different outcome. So again, that makes a difference. Chet Holmgren has 4 or 6 points in game one. Conversely, he has a better game in game two. So it's about shot making. That comes into play as well. And I think, the teams that are able, and that's why I like Indiana right now, because now they took one from OKC and now they are going home. And we all know that shots fall a lot better when you're at home, a lot of times.
Olden Polynice is our guest. Jalen Williams, this is his coming out party from a kid from Santa Clara. And he was taken in the first round in 2022, the 12th pick overall. This is really important, a guy in the regular season averaging 22 a night. When you got a player that's not a top 10 pick, but he's a good player, and you hit with him, and then you get an MVP, and then Chet Holmgren's got a high ceiling for what he does. It really, I'm starting to say that's the way you build the championship team, not by chasing Paul George and Kawhi all around North America trying to get that extra veteran or two that you think is going to get you over the top.
You are absolutely right. And that's the problem with a lot of teams. They think, going for the quick hit is what it is. No, you have to grow from within. Shea Gilgeous gets traded from the Clippers for Paul George. But they allow he and the rest of those players, Jalen Williams, Kendrick Williams, all those guys, Chet Holmgren, they allow them to grow with each other. And so they get to know each other. That's why they have that atmosphere that they have as a team, And so to me, that's the key factor. The rest of those guys, the big name guys that you try to chase all the time, they are so set in their ways. They come in with this attitude, I'm better because I'm an all-star. They have that, and I hate that entitlement thing. And so to me, I don't want to grow a team that way. I want to grow it organically, from the ground up. I want to grow and build together. Indiana's doing it now.
Yeah,
and
that's
what. And again, remember, NBA is a copycat league, and we're going to start seeing more teams say, "Oh, you know what? We need to grow organically."
Yeah. Wrapping it up with Olden Polynice, the team of your youth growing up, the Knicks. How do you think this is going to play out? Because we're hearing more that Dolan was involved, and Dolan might have had a pretty big voice, but rightfully so. He's the owner of the team. over Leon Rose, and the fact that maybe the players were burnt out on Thibodeau. You got Thibodeau, one of his assistants is Brunson's dad. I mean, this is starting to turn into a New York soap opera. Jason Kidd, some of the other names, Jay Wright isn't interested now. But as I go through all of this here, if I'm a coach, I want to get paid, and they all get guaranteed money up front. But if I'm the new coach of the Knicks, knowing what they did to Thibodeau, I can't be feeling confident with my family that I'm going to have a long leash at the Garden.
No, and unless you are a big-time coach, you're not going to be comfortable at all. You know, and the timing of it was wrong for me, but I think it was still justified in a lot of ways. You know, granted, yeah, they went as far as they did. You know, Eastern Conference Finals, but they are worn out. That's why they couldn't play against Indiana. To me, the Knicks were the better team. But Indiana was sharper because they weren't as tight. Carlisle knew that, and he used multiple lineups. He used multiple players. The Knicks were stuck on Philly with like 7, 8 guys max, and you can't do that because you have NBA players on your bench, but yet you refuse to use them. His coaches are like, hey, let's get subs. Let's do this. He refuses to do it. He's stuck on his way, and I think. And I agree with you. I think Dolan was more he than Leon Rose. He was like, hey, you know, I'm done with this. And it happened. But, you know, the timing of the firing is the only thing that I had an issue with.
Got it. What's your plan for Summer League? I'll see you out here in Vegas.
I will definitely be in Summer League. Hopefully my son will be playing with somebody. And so we're on the phones right now as we speak, just trying to get him on a team.
Please reach out to me. I can't wait to take you to dinner, and thank you for all these appearances this year. So please look me up when you're in Vegas.
Thank you.
Thank you, Olden. Olden Polynice. Fantastic to talk to him. We'll see him out here at Summer League. He's always here scouting. He's got a son playing now. That's interesting. I've known Olden a long time. Now he's got a son who's trying to hook up with an NBA team, and hopefully he can do that at Summer League. We'll be promoting Summer League a bunch. We'll do a show or two from there. Coming up, a couple of housekeeping items. That interview brought to you by our great friends at La Casa Cigars. Mike is just getting ready to reopen. You won't believe this place. His cigar lounge is one of the best in town, a gold standard cigar lounge, and they're moving right next door to a bigger space. So we're going to do a live remote from there. We're also going to connect it with the headsets that I'm wearing, Astrum. So I'm wearing my Astrum's headset, astrumtech.com. We're going to bring a bunch of headsets to the remote so you can try them out. You want to get those headsets 20% off at astrumtech.com, astrumtech.com. I think you'll love these headsets. Perfect for the summer. If you're laying by the pool, the earbuds, or if you like a bigger set, like I'm wearing, like the DJs wear at the super clubs, I think you'll like it even more. So thanks again, and we appreciate it. $69 for Astrum. Blowout price. That's a 20% discount. And my partners over there are loving what we're doing here. You got to use JT as the code. And you get these headsets, $69. I think these are like $400 or $500. So go there, a blowout price, 20% discount off the low price. Use the code word JT at astrumtech.com. Hook a brother up or your wife up or your partner up. Get them the best headsets they'll ever have. Astrum Tech, proud partner of our show. So Daniel Carlson just spoke and Colton Miller. I love them both. I want to hear what Colton Miller has to say about his future. So when we come back, we'll get into that. We'll get into that like I'm going to get into a little Bana Mezcal with my buddy Billy over the weekend. Little Bana, B-N-A-A-A. He knew I'd love this Mezcal if it didn't have a heavy smoke. Can't deal with the heavy smoke. And we found a Mezcal that doesn't have the heavy smoke. Ask for it. It's all over town. It was huge at EDC. BNAA Mezcal. Your new way of enjoying one of the best Mezcals in the world. All right, we're going to play Colton Miller next. And then that'll be the end of this hour. And I won't bore you with the others. But we're going to keep it going.
for the last 2 years, and I think they really thrive with offense.
Yeah, I'm rocking the Stone shirt. So Vamp's final shows are wrapping up, Bobby?
Yep, that'll be on the 28th. We have about 3 more weeks.
Selections anywhere in the valley with live local entertainment 7 nights a week. Great place to watch football games. Check it out at La Casa.
Did you hear me? Text for me. Throw that in a nice text so I can read it directly.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. Right?
Yeah, that's really good. Yep. All right, I'm back on. I'm back on radio. You good?
Nobody else is getting the 20% off. We haven't got any sales. We've got a lot of people hanging around the website. No sales yet.
All right, we'll get some. We'll push through. I'm mentioning it. You know how that goes. We'll get it going.
Yep. And when is
The remote's going to be in a couple of weeks when we get the place open. It's going to open in a week and we'll have it all set up. I'll tell you the date. We don't have it set yet.
And I'm heading to Hammers right now.
Good. All the best. Does Edmonton come back or are they dead?
They can't play Florida's game. They cannot. They tried to play it.
.365 Plumbing, because where the water flows, 365 Plumbing goes.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop, offering 24-hour smog test, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, engine, and transmission rebuilding. And Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary, 24-hour service. Zip Zap Auto at Cheyenne and North Durango Drive and online at zipzapauto.com.
Welcome back to the JT the Brick Show, brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
The beauty of Geno is that Geno's been in multiple systems now. And there's a lot of things Gino can do. So I don't think you can just pigeonhole him. I think he runs better than people really give him credit for. You look at the 2-minute drive against the 49ers at the end of the game, and he runs it in for the winner. I think he can beat you with his feet. He can keep plays alive with his feet. He's extremely accurate. He gets the ball out of his hand quickly. He can be a movement guy, but he can also be a drop back guy. And that's, Pete and Greg Olson, our quarterback coach, had a great understanding because they've coached him for such a long time. And what we saw, in terms of Pete's evaluation, Noli's evaluation of him is what I've seen here. I think whatever we fit into schematically, offensively, I think Gino can handle all of them.
It's a big deal. Chip Kelly's good with Gino. And Greg Olson, who I spent some time with yesterday, is excited to be back, and Pete's coached him before. So Gino's a good fit here for the Raiders. He's got Chip Kelly, Pete Carroll, Greg Olson. I mean, there's a lot of comfort around who's back, including Colton Miller, who just spoke to the media over at Raiders camp. Okay.
Thoughts on the rookie linemen, Charles and Caleb. What do you think of them early on in the offseason?
Can we just start that earlier?
I think this rookie
started
class
earlier. When I go, let's go out to camp.
All
just
around,
hit start.
they
Why am I
come in
wrong?
with
There's
a
sense
of maturity.
I know.
They're
I
listening.
know the
They're
pause
looking
is
ways
there.
to
So
improve
let me
every
start
day.
it 3 seconds early.
Yeah, Charles and Caleb, man, they're great examples.
I'm not going to mind if it starts early.
They're taking a step each day, and you can see the focus and the work after practice. They're doing it the right way.
Obviously, you're going into the final year of your deal. For you personally, what went into your decision to commit to coming in and practicing throughout OTAs and being here as manager?
I've been here for a long time, man. This is it's what I do, and looking to just improve each day, and the direction the organization is going with Pete. He's preaching competition. We got to make everyone better, including the young guys. So I'm not gonna I'm gonna continue doing what I'm doing and lead the guys, and that's how I'm rolling.
This time last year, you were coming off off-season surgery. How much different do you feel this year, just kind of having that full year being healthy?
I feel great. Like last year, I think I had maybe 2 or 3 training camps heading into the season. So I like where I'm at right now. I got a lot more ramp up, so I'm liking it.
Do you like where the organization is right now with Pete and the Chip Kelly and the changes and the new quarterback?
I love it. The pieces we've added this offseason, the energy, the direction. Pete's, he's really master crafted, coming in and how to do things. And the guys, we're taking it, and we're rolling. It's been really fun. And we've gotten so much. This is probably one of the most productive OTAs I've been a part of. It's not easy. Like we're kind of flying around, but no, it's been really good, and I'm excited where we're headed.
Does it make you want to extend the stay that much more to be part of this moving forward?
Oh, I want to be a Raider. I want to be a Raider for life. I love it here. I don't want to go anywhere else. So, and I only know one way to do it, and that's showing up, getting better each day.
You mentioned flying around at the OTAs. What's the most important for you and your position group right now at this stage of the game?
Right now with OTAs is execution. We have a lot of plays in Chip. Chip is he's putting a lot in, and defense that they're getting like it's almost like game looks. So the biggest thing is execution, communication, and just improving your technique each day.
How does Brendan Carroll help you kind of grow as an athlete and being your coach, like work on that communication with the other guys?
Great. We have a big room, just like his father. Like he comes in with a great attitude each day to push us to help us get better. And no, he's been fantastic so far.
Jackson was singing your praises last week, said he learned so much playing next to you last year. It's now been a year with him. What stood out about him, and how can he make another leap in his second year?
So when you look at rookies, especially after the first year, you want to see what they do in the offseason. Like that, what path are they taking? Are you going to get better? Or are you going to try to like take some time off? No. Jackson, he put in the work this offseason. He's dropped some weight. He's looking really good. He's been working with Max, and that's the right way to do things. I think he's a prime example of how to do it, and I'm looking forward to the jump he makes this year.
It always feels like DJ Glaze over on the right side kind of gets overlooked a little bit. Your impressions of him as a rookie last year and then to this point now?
DJ, when he stepped in here, first day of training camp, I noticed the maturity he brought, going into one-on-ones and taking what he learned from OTAs to training camp. And he's done the same thing. The whole line has been here this offseason. It's been awesome. And he's going to continue to improve, and I'm excited to see where he ends up.
You've been a part of a lot of changes with this organization. What is it about Pete Carroll that makes this one feel different than the others?
Again, it's energy, it's a competition. He also pours into the coaches. Like he's not only coaching us, he's coaching the coaches how to push us and get the most out of us. I think that's what sets him apart. And he's had years of experience in how to develop a culture. Doing it the right way. That's what he excels in.
All right, so that's some of Colton Miller. Just a few minutes of that live from Raiders mandatory minicamp. And maybe the player that people wondered the most, would he play with a contract pending? Yes, he's there. And he wants to be a Raider for life. So that's a great answer to that. Fantastic. Good, solid hour. Olden Polynice, Colton Miller commentary. Top of the hour, I'm going to dive into the Stanley Cup for a few minutes with Zig Fracassi. Russell Baxter, the legendary statistician for ESPN, on some of the moves in the NFL this offseason as we count down to Eric Allen and his summer of getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is Raider Nation Radio, brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka, my go-to vodka. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll be around tonight, 7 o'clock, live stream. Who will be there with me? 7 o'clock. NBA, completely different vibe. Jump on in with me if you can.